Hey everyone, Ariel here with aBlogtoWatch at MicroLUX Chicago, speaking to John Kanaras of Axia. You said the name has a very special meaning. Why don't you explain what the name of the brand is?
Yeah, so I am the product of Greek immigrant parents. And so my Hellenic culture means a lot to me, and Axia means worth or value in Greek. And so that's the ethos of our company. We're trying to deliver a lot of watch for the money, really good value.
Good name.
Yeah, thank you.
So what's your background and why did you start a watch brand?
So it's a long journey, but a fun one. So it started for me in 1988. I played lacrosse at the University of Pennsylvania, and we won the Ivy League championship that year. And to commemorate that win, the university gave us a watch. And that started my love of watches. Now, as I learned about watches, I learned that the watch they gave us was not a great quality watch.
So you didn't play hard for the watch. It was a surprise at the end.
Well, yeah, no, exactly. It was a surprise afterwards. But as I learned about watches and I learned about mechanical watches, I grew to love them. Just the human ingenuity piece of it and the human spirit piece of it was really inspiring to me.
Let's go back for a second, because I'm always interested in those sort of seminal moments that makes a person a watch lover.
Yeah.
You get this watch, I guess you're pretty happy about it, but something compelled you to go learn about it, realize it didn't match what you wanted in a watch, and then still you went out to search more.
Yeah.
Why did that all happen?
Well, so as I started to learn about watches, and after the watch that I got, I started to learn about the difference between quartz and mechanical, and the whole story behind mechanical watches and how human beings figured out how to engineer these marvels that could tell time on the size of something that fits on a wrist a couple hundred years ago. It blew my mind. I was so impressed. And the kind of persistence and ingenuity that it must have taken to figure it out was really inspiring to me. And so from there, I started to learn about mechanical watches, and I had a deep love of my alma mater. And ever since then, I wanted to find a watch that was elegant, simple branding of my university, but mechanical and a quality piece. And after 30 years of looking, I couldn't find what I was looking for, so I decided to start it myself.
Okay, so again, I think it's interesting to understand sort of these origin stories. So late 80s, I guess arguably you first got into watches. You had a different professional career.
I did.
And then all of a sudden you decided now's the time to make that watch I always wanted to exist happen. What allowed that decision to happen?
So that was, one could say, a midlife crisis. So after 25 years of a career in big pharma, did some soul searching and decided, you know what? I want to pursue my passion. I always wanted to start my own business. I had this love of watches, love of my alma mater, and I thought that this concept could have legs.
And the concept, for those that don't know, is that you can get a standard Axia watch, but you can also get watches with a certain number of university logos on there for people that graduate from those institutions.
Correct, yeah. So the concept is we start with the Axia design. So we develop a design for a specific collection, and then we apply that design concept to the university branding elements. And so we're currently licensed with the 8 Ivy League schools, and we've just picked up Rutgers University, and we're going to be expanding to the Big Ten schools. And so we take the core Axia collection, and then we adapt it to the university branding, so that those individuals at that school, alumni, whomever, if they have an affiliation with their school and a love of watches, they can find a piece that suits their aesthetic and their connection to their alma mater.
When did you learn that this was a potential market? Because even though you yourself wanted one, in the late 80s, you had been given a watch with the university logo on it, so it was a thing at least.
Sure.
When did you sort of realize that it could be bigger, or that it wasn't enough, or that there was a market for this?
Yeah, so I did a fair amount of research prior to starting this, and so what I found in the market was there were the real low-end kind of quartz, inexpensive, poor quality watches that you would find in a typical bookstore for under $200. And then at the high end, you had Tag Heuer kind of co-branded watches that it's a tag watch with the university logo as kind of an afterthought. Those are $3,000. So you have these inexpensive quartz for $200, $3,000 for mechanical tag. So in between, there was this sweet spot of a quality timepiece for under $1,000. And that's exactly where we, the space we're trying to occupy. Between about $500 to $900, real quality Swiss-made automatic watch with real subtle university branding elements.
And the branding elements, I agree, they're subtle and they're done tastefully, and I don't like those watches just like you don't that feel like it's like a university souvenir watch.
Exactly.
Because those universities are supposed to produce people who go out in the world and are very proud of themselves and proud to project where they came from. Shouldn't they have a watch which which fits into that world? And so you said that was missing.
Absolutely.
And so
absolutely.
How did you have the confidence to say, I bet I could do this?
One could argue that I'm an eternal optimist. And the truth be told, I probably made more mistakes along the way than successes that I've had with respect to starting a microbrand. I'm sure every microbrand founder could tell you the same story, but none of the mistakes have been fatal. But the reality is that we did a kind of a pilot project for my alma mater, for the lacrosse team. We had a 100th anniversary.
Were you still on the team at that point?
No, but it's all the alumni. So there was the 100th anniversary of Penn Lacrosse, and we wanted to have a commemorative item created that, to your point, fit the quality and stature of the organization, of the program. And so we decided to design a Swiss-made automatic watch, and through that process, I learned about, movement manufacturers and suppliers and private label producers, and I got networked into people within Switzerland to understand the process.
It's confusing, isn't it?
It's a labyrinth of organizations and people and things, but I fortunately got out on the other side of that labyrinth, and we had a successful campaign with this Penn Lacrosse commemorative watch, and I said, you know what? I think this could work. So I had people reaching out to me saying, boy, I'd like one of those for my alma mater.
So I was at a store, Hamilton Jewelers in Princeton, which is across the street from Princeton University, which is one of the Ivy League schools that you have a relationship with. And I was there, and I saw the watches there. I didn't have an opportunity to really understand how those watches, are treated by the current students as well as the alumni. But from your perspective, when someone goes into a store like that, and they have, the Rolexes and the Pateks and the Cartier, but then they see something like this, which has the name of their school that they're either at or they went to, and they're feeling that pride because the school's across the street. Did you somehow get feedback that said, hey, this is good, you got to keep going?
So the reality is the person who's looking to buy a Rolex or a Patek isn't going to buy one of my watches. That's not my target audience. My target audience is that undergraduate who's just graduating, and the parents giving them their first watch, or the undergraduate who is a budding watch enthusiast who can't afford the Rolex, but has a deep pride for their alma mater, and they say, you know what, this is a nice starter watch. Again, for the price point that we have, we're delivering a lot of watch for the money, and so we've gotten some really positive feedback from exactly that customer. The graduation gift, the undergraduate who wants to start collecting, and that's part of a connection to my origin story. My love of watches started, upon graduating. That seminal event in my life and that commemorative watch for me. Hopefully I'm helping to contribute to this next generation of watch enthusiasts.
Why not more universities? Is it because it's a licensing challenge?
Yeah. The process to get licensed with each university is quite complicated.
Is it different for each?
Yes and no. So there's a lot of universities that will use a licensing agent, like an IMG college, but then there's others who have their individual licensing departments within the university. Princeton is one that has their own licensing department, and so each school is a bit different with their requirements and the process. So yes, it's quite time intensive and capital intensive.
And what are those conversations like? Surely money has something to do with it, but also I'm sure they want to make sure that your product makes them look good.
Absolutely.
Is priced fairly or correctly. has the right type of demographic in mind. I'm just curious what the universities ask you to make sure that this is a project which is good for them.
So it's a pretty involved application process, a full marketing plan, sample products so that they can examine, does this item meet the quality standard to be affiliated with that university? To your point, these universities have a reputation and their brand means a lot to them, and they only want to be associated with companies that will match the image of that brand.
So right now, if somebody wants one of the, I'll call it the university versions of the watches, how do they get them? Do they go to the website? Do they have to go to the university? Because I think another question goes into the exclusivity, or at least the channel to purchasing it.
Sure. So there are two options. You can either buy it from our website directly, or we have one retail partner per campus. Because we are an e-commerce business, it's really important. The price point isn't inexpensive. It's important that people have the ability to touch and feel the product. And so we have one retail partner per campus. Hamilton Jewelers happens to be our retail partner at Princeton University, but we have one at each of the schools.
And John, tell me the average price point for the models.
So they start at $495 and they cap out at $895. So everything under $1,000. And again, all Swiss-made automatic movements. So Sellita movements are exclusively used on our watches, assembled in Switzerland.
Wonderful. Yeah. The brand is Axia. John, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ariel.